Ambition is a good thing, especially when it's paired with confidence. So we all know how Nintendo has recently put a lot of pressure on the retro gaming field and emulation. And now we have a new competitor, the G350, the BattlexP, which ship with no Nintendo ROMs at all, not even Game Boy, none. Because this company, I think, is pushing very ambitiously to be the best 3.5-inch handheld. Have we finally found a replacement for our lovable R36S? Well, let's explore and find out the surprising result from this new handheld. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. And with this little pill, I've got a story to tell. No, wait. Oh, I am diabetic, but I don't take Rybelius. I'm more of a Jardiance kind of guy. Anyways, Deadheads, welcome back to the channel. Or welcome to the channel for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're going to take a look at
BattlexP.
All right, guys. So I have been using this, and when I first unboxed it, I initially was fairly impressed with the box. You can see that the box itself is pretty nice and presented. It has the nice texture to it that some of these boxes have. And as I've said in the past, presenting your package in a very nice way is very important. And so while the package has limited information, but it does have the really cool misspelled, maybe on purpose, BattlexP. And on the back here, it has just a little bit of the specs here. We are rocking the same 3.5-inch 640 by 480 IPS, running the Rockchip 3326 with the Mali G31, 1 gig of LPDDR3 running under Linux. So this is the R36S or the R351P. You know, it's pretty much running the hardware that AMPOWN had. So this is a clone of a clone of a clone. But again, once we got inside the package and we took the unit out, you could see that there was some pretty nice touches inside of there. First, it does come with a USB-C cable. Because we're running the same CPU, we're going to be stuck forever with the USB A to C, so slow charging, use power banks, etc. for that. It did not have a screen protector, a little disappointing since we have a nice looking package. And then we have our manual, and the manual is decent, nothing fancy here. And I would rather companies spend money on something like throwing in a screen protector than to have a fancy manual anyway. So I think the manual suffices here for it. It looks good enough here. The instructions are clear and concise. So no problems there, but no surprises, no lanyard, no nothing like that underneath. So pretty basic. The handheld itself, a USB-C cord, and you have your manual. Now, getting the unit out and first trying it hands-on, I was immediately impressed with the build quality of the handheld. You can tell that this is premium materials. And yes, I'm going to use that word premium because that's what it feels like. It feels like an item that AYRJGF themselves would be releasing. Let's start off with the plastic. The overall look and feel of the plastic is really, really nice. It has a really nice touch to it. It feels really nice in the hands. It's shaped nice with nice curves to it. And let's talk about this bezel-less screen. This screen is bezel-less. It's really nice, and it gives that nice effect that makes it really nice to look at. Now, comparing this directly with the R36S, you can see that there is a very thin bezel on the R36S, which previously never bothered me. But holding this up side by side and seeing the two of these, I realized how much better this is. Also, physically, this is a bit smaller than the R36S, which means it's more pocketable, making it more travel friendly. Now, looking at the buttons, and the buttons are quiet, They're very quiet. They're also very independent. They're not connected, and you can clearly see through the transparent that that is a fact. Also, they feel premium. They feel slick. They feel nice. They're nicely colored. They're soft. They're polished. They feel like an AMPOWN button. And they're much better than the buttons on the R36S, which are already pretty good buttons. So no issues with the buttons. I really like them. They feel really good. They feel premium. And then the D-pad has a really nice pivot to it. It feels good. It's very flexible. It's not mushy. It feels responsive. So a nice D-pad. The R36 has a little bit slighter, bigger D-pad. So I would have liked maybe, but again, they're making this thing smaller and saving space. So I think it's a good trade-off. Now your sticks are your typical Switch sticks. So nothing fancy here. They feel decent. They feel just like you're always used to them. And compared to the R36S, they feel just about the same. I wouldn't say either one is better than the other. They're both pretty much your basic Switch style sticks. Now, let's talk about where this thing really shines. The most impressive part of this hardware by far for me is the shoulder buttons. Now, these shoulder buttons remind me of the D28S. So this is the other handheld we've recently used that we like a lot. That's a 2.8 inches, and it has a very similar style of shoulder buttons, and I like this style quite a bit. You can see through the transparent, you can see the little way it's attached on the inside, and it's very responsive and very quiet, and it feels really nice to hold and to use. In fact, the D28's plastic mold is very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if they come from the same factory because they have this really nice texture to them all over with the design and feel really great. In fact, I could see this being marketed and sold by DM if I didn't know better. This is like what their D30, the 3.5 inch D35 should have been. So it is really nice. I enjoy the shoulder buttons. They're raised. They don't stick out too far, so they fit in the pocket. They feel nice and polished. They feel good. When you're holding this with the sticks, they line up very well, very nice. Everything about this hardware is just really good. It is almost surprising that this is a $45 handheld. Guys, a $45 handheld. Now, if this thing sells, which I think it will, if these tariffs don't ruin everything, then this is probably going to go up in price eventually. I don't know, maybe not. But this is giving me that vibe that the R36S gave me over a year and a half ago when I first picked it up. I am finding myself playing this. I'm finding myself looking at this sharp screen, this bezel screen. I'm finding myself enjoying the build quality of this, how it feels. It feels great. The screen is really, really bright and nice. And when you compare it to the R36S, I'd say it has a slight edge, mainly because of the way that bezel is, that makes it just look and pop really nice. So once we got into the software and started playing it, another surprising fact here is that this has a custom version of Batocera. Now, if you're not familiar with Batocera, you might be familiar with Nully. And Nully is a fork of Batocera that has been made and ported by a team for devices that we're used to loving playing. And Nully is great. And in fact, I don't know, I haven't tried any custom firmware, but Nully probably will work on this. But this company is putting together their own package, their own version of software of Batocera. It's been optimized for that, and it has a really nice touch to it. This is a good custom firmware. It's a revision 1. Now, again, they're basing it. The foundation is already a great custom firmware, but give them props for shipping this with that. Now let's talk about the really interesting thing here. There are no Nintendo games on this. No Nintendo games. If you're going to get this for someone, plug and play, you have to understand there's no Nintendo games on this. I don't blame the company. I think they're ambitious. I think they're going to push this. I think you're going to see this all over TikTok. You're going to see this, and this is what you should get all over TikTok, not some of that other stuff you're seeing on there, the horrible stuff we see. Something like this, $45. And they don't want the attention of Nintendo, so I don't blame them. Now, you can add your own ROMs to this, but you're giving this to a nephew, a cousin. They're not going to know how to do that. Maybe you don't know how to do that either. So just know that there's no Nintendo ROMs on this, but you can learn. It's not hard to add ROMs to this. It's pretty simple. It's not difficult to do. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to show you this product that our friends at Amazon sent us for review. It is a case that is not intended for what I'm using it for, but I've made it into my carrying case for my Mod Retro Chromatic. It is a perfect premium case to hold your Chromatic and store it with magnetic clips that hold it down. It has detachable straps and it looks in style and keeps it and makes it look nice. You can get this product for very cheap as well. So if you're looking for a premium case to hold your Chromatic in, check out the link in our description below. We want to thank our friends at Amazon for always supporting our channel. Anyways, back to the video. It's not difficult to do. Now, the performance of this is exactly what we've come to expect from the 3326. There's no surprises here. It runs as expected. This does have a decent battery life. It also, the custom firmware has a lot of little options for what they're calling the BattlexP section to do some little settings for that. It's got 4 or 5 different unique themes, so that's pretty nice. They've already built in themes for this. It's running through Emulation Station, which is a familiar front end. So again, a win here. Guys, I've looked for something to really knock this for, and there's really only one thing. And again, it comes down to this price point, but we've seen other handhelds do it. This thing just doesn't have Wi-Fi. It just doesn't have Wi-Fi built in. That is the worst thing about this. If you're a Retro Achievements, you want to update, no Wi-Fi. So if I was going to say anything about this, I was going to give any sort of criticisms about this, it's the fact that there's no Wi-Fi in it. Everything else about this, since I've been playing on this, it just feels really good. This should have come out a year ago. If this had come out a year ago, it would have done it. Is it too late now? That's the big question. We've got tariffs coming, although they've been a mess and changed. So who knows? Go buy your handhelds now before the de minimis goes back into effect. But we've got tariffs coming. We've got a lot of competition. This is drowning in a sea of too many handhelds. Is it too much? Is it too little too late? I really don't know, guys. You know, R36S is a huge community. If you already have the R36S, should you update to this? I don't know. I love the R36S. It is still a great handheld with a huge community. I'm not going to say that tinkering with this is going to give you much more to it, but let's just sum this review up and this unboxing with these simple facts right here. This is a well-built, well-designed, nicely implemented, and launched handheld thoroughly, from the software to the hardware, all the way around. And if you want to take a bit of a step up from the R36S, do it. You can go to the 353 on the AMPOWN and get a great quality device, but you're going to pay a lot. And that device, I don't even know if it's still being made. But I don't think that this is for most people that already have an R36S. If you already have one, unless it's a color you don't have, I probably would say that while I love this a lot, I still have the place in my heart for the R36S. And I'm going to keep both. I'm going to have both. You can see in our video here, we compared both. And again, it's just a little bit smaller, more pocketable. But aside from that, it's just it's a better build quality. I'll give it that. This is a better build quality than the R36S. And I'm talking about the real R36S, not these clones, K36, all this other stuff coming out. This is the real deal, guys. So anyways, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read about this. We'll do some more videos on this in the future as I launch some custom firmware and find out what it can do. It's a 3326. I mean, it shouldn't have any trouble getting ported. Again, is it too little too late? That's the big question. Well, remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones, because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Dead Fred out.